If you don't think the difference here is a big deal for VR, I think this video is for you. If you actually do think the difference here is a big deal for VR, this video is definitely for you. I am absolutely blown away by what I didn't think was possible without certain cameras, what is now actually possible, and VR really has a new leg here, and I think we need to discuss this, because ever since hand tracking has come out, it is another one of those things like pass-through gaming or any of the things we've talked about recently that shows me what VR can do. Controllers are fun, using my hands is an entirely different experience, but the tech has always been underwhelming. And that does change. On April 19th, Meta did come out and announce the hand tracking 2.0 would be coming. It is actually coming, and it's some games already have it live right now. We'll get into that. But first we need to talk about what it is. Some anecdotes about it from developers who you should be listening to, and then specific use cases on why this dramatically changes the VR landscape. That sounds hyperbole, but I think it's actually closer to the truth. Today, Meta is unlocking major improvements to their hand tracking API, Presence Platform's hand tracking capability, including step change improvements in tracking continuity, gesture support, movement, and performance. Now, this update also allows fast and overlapping hand movements, it enables clapping and other hand-over-hand interactions, and it opens up nearly endless object manipulation possibilities. This is a really big deal. And in fact, it's not just something coming, it's something like I brought up, it's already out there right now. Developers have access to this, have already been using it, and in fact, a few games are already live with this enacted right now. I do want to go over some direct quotes from developers who have been working with this, actively have already implemented it, or are implementing it before going into an anecdote that I think is really important. And I do want to highlight some of these developers for their amazing work and what they've contributed now to VR working on hand tracking, because they are the pioneers that I want to back. Right from Cubism, the update to hand tracking is a big step forward in tracking quality. It makes playing Cubism with hands feel a lot more stable and consistent. Previously, Cubism's hand tracking relied on smoothing the hand data input to produce a stable input method. Furthermore, players needed to be taught not to cross their hands, since this negatively affected tracking. This is all improved with the latest hand tracking, which is consistent enough for me to turn off hand tracking smoothing by default. Hand Physics Lab is also another game that has been the pioneer moving forward in really using hand tracking, and this update to hand tracking is a big step forward for natural and intuitive interactions with hands. One of the biggest challenges when building a hands-first application is the reliability and accuracy of hand tracking provided by the system. Hand Physics Lab was designed to highlight what was possible at the time and to challenge the user to play with the limitations of the technology. With this big improvement, we hope more people will discover what hand tracking has to offer immersive experiences. I think dev anecdotes are innately extremely strong. These are the people that are playing with fire when you think about it. VR is such a small niche, and they're taking that small niche and then taking tech within that small niche that is super small, buggy, and really early concept, hand tracking, and they're moving forward. They're taking their time and effort to implement these things that may only impact a small amount of people, and this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm here for VR, is these things. And a good example, this is another game that had a direct quote in Meta's announcement. I'm not going to go over the direct quote with them, but Unplugged is a game that we really need to talk about. Now, Unplugged Air Guitar is a game that entirely relies on hand tracking. You're playing this entire game. It's basically Guitar Hero, but in VR, but with your hands, right? And I have played it. And while the game is incredibly ambitious, incredibly amazing, it is limited by what the software can accomplish with hand tracking, and anytime hand tracking goes out, the game experience basically turns into mush. The anecdote here, if you think about it, VR has a big agency issue. In traditional gaming, if you hit a button or you do a series of buttons and maybe it doesn't go off exactly how you think you inputted it, there's a degree where your brain separates a controller versus you, right? But in VR, agency is really important, meaning your actions have direct consequences. In any VR game, if your actions on what you do, if you physically are trying to cock a gun back or reload a gun, if you're physically trying to throw something or to grab something, if it doesn't work exactly how you think it should, you lose all your agency. It's a direct attack on you as a person because it's not an input, it's not a controller input, it's a you input, and if it doesn't go off right, that hurts. And you have a developer working on Unplugged who has put all the eggs in the basket for software that really wasn't flawlessly there. It's a proof of concept, it doesn't work. and that's valuable to VR. And now with hand tracking 2.0, I hope to see experiences like Unplugged not only get better, but inspire other developers to take huge risks, because it is a big risk to implement hand tracking in your game. But with the tools getting better, to see developers taking those risks, seeing them get rewarded for those risks, and honestly, this is just the start of new hand tracking games to come, especially when color pass-through cameras come, whether that's Cambria or Quest 3. I'm over the moon. I'm really excited. I hope y'all are just as excited as I am, and I cannot wait to see what new and exciting tech keeps coming to VR and keeps getting better. So this was an amazing surprise. I didn't see hand tracking getting better this quickly like that, especially not with color pass-through cameras, and to see proof of concept videos like were on screen before, maybe here if I put them in here at this point, and to see developers just talk so happily and candid about this. It's a good time to be in VR. I love y'all. That's it for this video. See you next time, Space Cowboys. Peace.